Hold on tight, guys and girls, because today's Switch 2 headlines are wild. We got Sony throwing shade at Nintendo for being successful with Switch 2. I don't know. I think they're jealous. We've got a third-party Switch 2 controller doing something that none of the others can, and even more breaking news for Switch 2. So buckle in, whether you have a Switch in your hands or you're hoping to get one soon. This is everything you need to know for the new console. So good morning. It's not morning. Hi guys, it's Zach from SwitchForce. Hope you're all doing well out there. I've had the Switch 2 for a week and it just keeps on rolling. Things are getting interesting, weird, impressive, and kind of strange. I'm going to start off with the strange one. Did you know that only 79% of US Switch 2 buyers got Mario Kart World? That blows me away because I thought it'd be like 93%. That means if you line up 10 Switch 2 owners in the US, 2 of them didn't get Mario Kart World. And this is including the bundle. This comes from Matt Piscatella, a video game industry analyst that usually focuses on sales and numbers. 79%. Is it 79% for our community? Like, let me know in the comments down below if you got Mario Kart World or if you didn't. And if you didn't, what game did you get? I think there's this weird factor that maybe the Switch 2 brings to the table where you didn't have to get a game. Maybe you stopped playing Pokemon Scarlet and Violet because you were waiting for the performance to not be poop. Maybe you just got Tears of the Kingdom and you're like, I'll hold off till the Switch 2 so this thing can run even more gloriously. Maybe you wanted to play Hyrule Warriors or Splatoon 3 or heck, Batman Arkham Knight in a better fashion and you didn't need a new game until one really appealed to you. I guess that's kind of what's happening here, or maybe Cyberpunk 2077 did really well, but doesn't 79% seem low to you? I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I love what Gillikit is doing here because none of the third-party Switch 2 controllers can wake the system up. You know that game, Don't Wake Daddy? It's like Don't Wake Switch 2 because only the Switch 2 Pro Controller and Joy-Con can do it. Not even the Switch 1 Pro Controller can do it, and apparently there's a new protocol with the system so that these controllers are not able to wake the system, even the Switch 1 Pro Controller. But Gillikit is coming through in the clutch, an accessories manufacturer, saying they've broken through and developed the first controller in the world, third-party style, to be able to wake the Switch up and power it on via a button press, which is really cool, because if they figured it out, everybody else can figure it out. Heck, Nintendo should figure it out and allow the Pro Controller from Switch 1 to power on the darn Switch 2. Like, that's a nice feature that the Switch 2 can do that, but these controllers used to be able to do that, so they should be able to do it again. And I don't want to see Nintendo limiting third parties because we want the option to have a good deal and get a second or third controller that isn't $85. So bravo to Gillikit for figuring this out. I'm glad that they did. It opens the door to other third-party controllers, even ones you already have, getting a firmware update or getting some sort of system update that will allow them to turn the system on. And frankly, if Nintendo knows this breakthrough that Gillikit made, they should just apply it system-wide, override this protocol, and be like, dude, everybody can now do this. It's only fair, right? I think every controller should be able to wake the Switch 2 up. It's a silly, convenient feature that they should not be hiding behind a wall. They should not secret guard that stuff. It's waking it up. It's convenience. Make your system as easy to play as possible, and don't force people to buy your Pro Controller if they don't want to or don't have the funds. Good old Sony, I guess feeling a little spicy after the Switch 2 clobbered the PS5's initial sales. They said, "We closely monitor the overall gaming industry, including the action of other market participants. Additionally, a catalyst in the market is great for the industry as a whole. As they invigorate excitement, they demand more product, so it's great to have people launching new things." All good so far, Sony. You're just saying they did something, stating the facts. Now let's hear your real opinion. As I mentioned previously, we have a different strategy. PlayStation 5 is designed for immersive gaming experiences, and this includes the innovative DualSense controller features as well. We believe PS5 level performance is required to achieve a great experience on big screens, and in this way, we have provided a unique offering for players and creators in this current console generation. What? They're saying to play on the TV and have a immersive experience, you gotta have PS5 level power, which we know that the Switch 2 doesn't have PS5 level power. It's got plenty of power. I think it has enough power. I think Cyberpunk 2077 and even Hogwarts Legacy, which does run on PS5, like, they look great on Switch 2. I don't think the Switch 2 is lacking, and I also don't believe that you need PS5 level power to have a great experience on big screens. First of all, gaming has actually flipped in recent years. Gaming has often become the smaller the experience, the lower threshold of power, the more fun it is. We've seen so many great standout indie games and small team games and AA games lately. Even something like Clair Obscura Expedition 33, coming from a studio of 30, they didn't need a PS5 level performance to pull that off. They needed great game design, smart storytelling, and an interesting idea. So this idea that we need PS5 level performance to have a great big screen experience is hogwash. It's what Sony wants you to think because they're doubling down on their AAA games. It seems like they're starting to veer away from games as services, which I applaud. And I'd love for them to find huge success with their single-player epics. But to say that you need PS5 level power is silly, because just wait till Nintendo puts out more Switch 2 games. Just wait, Sony, till they put out more first-party titles, and they don't have the power of the PS5. So many of you have told me you're playing your Switch 2 mostly docked. Are you having a great experience on your big screen? I bet you are. I bet you don't need a PS5. And like, the PS5, yes, looks better than the Switch 2. It runs things great, but the PS5 also started very slow. The PS5 also struggled to get exclusives. The PS5 is a super cool console, but it's not cool just because it's the only one to achieve a big screen experience that's worthy of your attention. The Switch 2 can do that just fine, so Sony, honestly, just, keep this to yourself. We don't need to hear it. Congratulate Nintendo. They did an amazing job, and they're not harming your console. In fact, they're just making the audience, like you said, bigger and better by spreading the games around, inviting more players to play, exposing these franchises to new audiences, and maybe, oh maybe, just hurting your fanboys' feelings because they somehow feel threatened by the Switch 2. And perhaps Sony does as well, because why do they say that they need PS5 level performance to have a great experience? You don't. You just don't, right? Like, you can have a great experience with a pixel art game on a big screen if you want. I think Sony is a little bit like smelling their own stuff, right? Like, I love their games, don't get me wrong. I love Last of Us, I love God of War Ragnarok, but those games take a ton of time to make, they cost a ton of money, and they require huge teams. It's not the only way to make a successful or great game these days. What is great, though, is Capcom declaring Street Fighter 6 on Switch 2 tournament legal. This is really sweet, and this makes me want to buy the game more than ever before, because this is officially Capcom saying, we think the Switch 2 version is as good as the other versions. And baby, that's exactly what I wanted to hear when I thought about the Switch 2. When I dreamed up third-party games coming to this more powerful Switch 2, it was like they should run and play the same as they do elsewhere. It shouldn't be like the Switch 1, where you can play some of these third-party titles on your system, but they're going to be hamstrung, they're going to look all sorts of muddy, and they probably aren't going to run as well or be the way to play the game. Like, if you could play a game like Doom Eternal elsewhere, you would. If you could play a game like Mortal Kombat 1 elsewhere, you would. Not the case anymore, baby. Street Fighter 6 Switch 2 is tournament legal by Capcom. It got the crown just like it was a Knight of King Arthur, and they said you are worthy. And I think we're going to only see this grow as more and more games achieve cross-play, cross-saves, and tournament approval like this, which is so good for us as Switch 2 owners, prospective owners, and just Nintendo fans and gaming fans in general. It opens the door to so much more, and the more that these third parties legitimize the Switch 2 as a great place for their game to also be put on, that means more multi-platform releases, more day-and-date releases, and more fun for Switch 2. Take Street Fighter 6 on the go, or play it on the big screen. You can do both with the Switch 2. So you don't need the PS5. Capcom just told us so, and now I'd love for you to tell me in the comments down below how you feel about today's stories. Are you excited that GuillaKit broke through and the third-party controllers now can turn on the system as well? How you feel about Sony throwing shade at the Switch 2 and this whole PS5 level experience is needed for a big TV fun time? I don't think so. And also, let me know how you feel about 79%. Did you get Mario Kart World? Did you skip it? I'd love to hear from you. Until that time, though, everybody, thanks so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. Love you lots. SwitchForce out.